Hi, welcome to Hartwall Areena. We're here at the Raskasta Joulua show and I'm about to show you what kind of equipment I'm using on this tour. Let's start with the guitars. I'm actually right here. I have a Larrabee L3 acoustic, which is in a stand in which I can play it because there are a couple of very quick changes between the electric and acoustic, so this is the best solution for me to do it. I don't really like having a piezo pickup on the bridge of an electric because I think that this one sounds better this way, and it looks a lot cooler in my opinion. I'm a child of the 80s, so I've gone through that period of video and concert footage. So you can nickname this the Scorpions if you want to. It's a very nice guitar with an electrical system inside, and I'll show you the preamp just in a second. Okay, let's go into the electric guitars here. All of these ones are basically, they're coming from the ESP brand family. So some of them are custom shop and some of them are standard features. I'm going through the guitars in order. So let's start with this one. This one is a ESP Eclipse from 2007. It's the cream colored ones, very much of a stock instrument. Besides I have a custom made EKT stainless steel stop bar here, which is basically done to my specifications, and EKT is a Finnish company that does these things by hand. This one is the only guitar in which I have EMG pickups. I'm not that big of a fan of active electronics, but for some reason on this guitar they work extremely well. This one is tuned to drop C for these shows. Then there's a very similar one. This one is a true workhorse. This is from 2010, I think. Eclipse with a flame top, and also has the EKT stop bar. Seymour Duncan pickups. My solution for double humbuckers is jazz in the neck and custom 59 hybrid on the bridge. This one has a automatic coil tap switch on the pickup selector here. So when I put it in the middle, I get the inside coils in parallel from both of the pickups as single coils. So it's a very good one for clean tones also. Otherwise, quite stock. The upper controls are not functional, they're just there for the look. So and by the way, most of these guitars have stainless steel frets installed. Then this one comes from the LTD brand in the ESP family. It's the EC1000FR, and FR stands for Floyd Rose, which I have here. This one is very heavily modified. We changed the pickups. It's the same set as the Sunburst, original Floyd that was installed. Stainless steel frets, and then I have the neck is sanded, as you can see, so I can feel the bare wood, since I don't like gloss finish on the neck. And then right here I have the Excalibur tremolo block by EKT also, which really nicely warms up and increases the sustain of the guitar sound. As you can see, this one has its share of dings and little marks everywhere. I've had this since 2009, and this has been a very true workhorse, and I'm thinking about granting pension for this guitar next year. So I think it's pretty much fully served. Then we go into the custom shop mode. This one is from last year, ESP TStack model TStack, that's me. And this one is based on one of my old custom guitars that I got as a very young guy in 1995. This is the other ones were based on a Les Paul. This one's basically based on a Strat. It has a tele body with all the functionalities of a Strat. It has the cuts here and here, and also here, so it's not as bulky as a regular tele. We have a 212 pickup system. This one has a JB in the bridge slot, since I have a Honduras mahogany body, one piece, and it really gives a nice edge to the warm tone. Then there's a pickup coil tap switch for these ones. Now it switches to the outer coils, so I get a Strat configuration here. and it's a single coil SSL 6 flat in the middle. Very, very nice guitar, ebony fingerboard, stainless steel frets, and locking tuners, and a satin finish to have a great feel. Also a 5-point neck plate here, made of titanium. Based on this, here's the new baby. I call this one Deep Purple. No pun intended. This is basically the same guitar with a different color and a tremolo. The tremolo is set up in a way where I can actually have intervals when I pull up. So it's a very good setup for me. And it's a TStack number 2, as you can see there. Otherwise, pretty much the same instrument as the previous one. And then there's the showstopper. Got this double neck in 2010. We had this weird dream with my with the ESP distributor. I had a dream in which I had a guitar like this, and then the distributor wanted to make it a reality. So this is a one-of-a-kind double neck, mahogany body, baritone scale, lower neck, and standard Les Paul, like Gibson scale, higher neck, and alternate 8, jazz, custom 59 hybrid, jazz. And here's a switch that you can switch the necks with. Both necks cannot be on at the same time, so that's a safety feature right there. And also it's named Kings Sword. Very subtle little name there. And here we have very natural neck finishes, which actually feel really, really good with the hand. The strings go through the body, and we only have the bridges over there. A very, very nice solution. Here's my amp setup. I'm using a Bogner Ecstasy 101B head, and it's basically genuinely the heart of my tone, because all the distortion basically comes from this. So I'm using all 3 channels, the clean one, which is the green, and then the crunch channel, which is the blue, and the red, which seems to be on at the moment. 100 watts. But the key feature here is that we're not using actual cabinets on stage. We're going into the 2 notes torpedo speaker simulation system, which works really, really nicely. Of course, on a venue like this that can, which is 12,000 seater, you wouldn't really be concerned with stage leakage or stuff, but we do play theaters as well, so and clubs. So it's good to have the silent system here. I have a possibility of running a cabinet through this unit, which works really nicely, but mostly I go with the impulses, and this one is very, very handy. It has a digital load box and a speaker simulation system. So we go from here into the front of house and into the monitoring system. So I get the same sound each night on my in-ears, which is a blessing. Underneath that is a Shure digital UHF wireless system. That one also works really nicely. It's a brand new design, and I have it going into a reamp box, which you would see if we were behind the rig. So the reamp box changes the impedance of the signal, since wireless they give out line signal. And so I want it back into instrument signal, so it feels like I'm playing with a cable. And it really helps to get the impedance right when we go into the amp. It's a nice little touch. Here is the preamp for the acoustic guitar. This is a D-Tar Mama Bear, which is a digital unit. It models different acoustic guitars, and it really gives me a feel with that I'm outside the guitar listening to it from the front, instead of being like inside on the guitar, like a piezo feels when you play. So it gives me a nice ambience and a very, very natural tone. Then there's the electronic system that powers up the entire rig, including the head and the pedal board, which you will see later. At the behind of the rack, there's a patch bay, and then there's the switcher that changes the MIDI signal that comes in to something that the head can understand. So it switches the channels of the head when I change situations on the pedal board. Okay, here's basically the hub of my entire rig. This is the Fractal Audio FX8 multi-effects pedal board. It gives me all of the effects that I need, and it also serves as the MIDI control center of my rig. I have it set up on a 4-cable method, which means that part of the effects are before the amp and part of the effects are at the loop of the amp, so they're after the preamp module. So I have what you would expect to be in front of the amp, some maybe overdrive boost, compressor, stuff like that, and also then in the loop I have reverbs, delays, pitch shift, whatnot. So I kind of have them in the right places. I don't get to do a lot of like stomping during the show since we have a main computer which runs the show, so I have programmed the computer to change my sounds for me in most places, meaning like 95% of the show. So that's really handy, so I can basically be anywhere on the ego ramp, up there at the riser, so I don't really have to worry about. But I can basically override any command that comes from the computer. I can override it with my feet. So what I have here is basically just one preset which has 8 different scenes on it. So I have a bunch of effects that have 2 different parameter settings, so I can switch between them, and all these scenes are like different configurations of those and amp channel. So I'm having on this show, I'm using 7 different sounds. Starting from the clean tones, I have a sort of like a very shiny, kind of shimmery clean tone. Which basically has reverb, delay, chorusing, some harmonizer there. Then I have a couple of crunch tones. I have this medium gain crunch tone, which is good for finger picking stuff. I'm using it on Arkihuolesi Kaikki Heitä, for example. Good for like that kind of Dan Huff kind of finger picking stuff. And then there's a delay that I can add on top of it. So it gives me that little ambience there if I need it. Especially on Arkihuolesi, it's a good effect. Then there's the basic crunch that I'm using, which is like sort of like the heavy. So this sound is on for the majority of the show. On top of this, if I want to go a bit heavier, I can add a overdrive boost, which sounds like this. So it gives me some edge on the tone. The delay kicks in some parts, and then on one song of the show I have a much more wet gained crunch tone, which has reverb and chorusing and delay and everything basically. So this would be a great sound to play Def Leppard songs with. So this is for one tune only in this show. Then there are the lead tones. The basic lead, which is the most focused one, is from the red channel and just a slight delay there. And in this one the delay is dynamic, so it comes out when I stop playing. It's not there as much, you know, when I play, but when I stop playing it kind of rises from there. Sometimes for this tone I use also the gain boost. So it gives me that. Then there's the big delay, big lead tone in which I play most of the melody parts with. So here the delay is consistent. There's a double delay, there's a triplet and a quarter note there. So it's like so it sounds like that. I usually don't have reverbs on the lead tones, but for some slide parts I kick it in. It's quite subtle, and I can modify the gain boost of the amp also from the pedal. So for slide stuff I'm using sound like this. And then there's the octave lead, which comes in on some of the melodies. Like, whoa! Gain booby trap over there. And by the way, I have the active monitor there that only has my guitar in it, so I can get that feedback when I want to. Sometimes it appears even if I don't want to. But this one, so there's the octave doubling there. So there you have it, the rig rundown for me here at Hartwall Areena for the Raskasta Joulua tour. And I'll see you guys at the shows. Bye.